He was charged with attempted murder, but while out on bail, he fled the U.S. He spent time in several countries, including Algeria and North Korea, and his life on the run made him an avowed anti-communist. He returned to the United States in 1975.
I want to resolve my legal problems.
After a lengthy legal battle, Cleaver was sentenced to community service. He became a born-again Christian and a Republican.
Our next candidate, I don't think anybody can say they knew him in the Young Republicans in the 60s.
In 1986, he ran for the U.S. Senate, registering at the same courthouse where he was tried as a Panther. During the last years of his life, Cleaver battled drug addiction, but he remained active as an entrepreneur and an environmentalist. Time did not heal all of the wounds of his past, but it did allow him to live as he chose.
I'm only able to make that change because America also changed. See, people try to say, look at you, you just flipped around and you changed, but America has made room for me.
In death, Eldridge Cleaver is nearly as controversial a figure as he was in his prime. News Center 4's Anthony Moore says the Black Panthers' Minister of Information leaves a legacy still under debate.
We have got to divide the people of this country.
Eldridge Cleaver was known as the Panthers' Minister of Information, and it is his ability to inspire, which many remember most fondly.
Well, I thought that Eldridge was the reincarnation of Malcolm X. I'd never heard such power, such eloquence.
Former Panther David Hillier now runs the organization named after Panthers founder Huey Newton.
This was the first office.
He gives tours of important Oakland sites in the party's brief history.
I think the community should remember Eldridge as being a liberator, an activist, someone who cared very dearly about African American and the struggle for human rights.
Stanford professor Clay Carson is curator of the Black Panther Party papers. He remembers Cleaver's intimidating presence.
It was you're either with us or you're against us, and the rhetoric was very intimidating for a young student like I was.
Carson says Cleaver's legacy is that of the party itself.
They did a remarkable achievement within a very short period of time of giving inspiration to young people.
This house represents a turning point in Eldridge Cleaver's life. It's where he was caught in a shootout with police 2 days after Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. Eldridge Cleaver was transporting weapons for self-defense. It symbolizes a split with the Black Panther Party, Cleaver preferring a revolutionary approach, others less radical. Former Panther Field Secretary Ronald Freeman.
And he was more or less, by him being the most visible and outspoken as far as the military aspect of the party.
The split only got worse in later years. Cleaver embraced an ideology seemingly at odds with the Panthers' credo. He converted to Christian fundamentalism, became a Republican, opposed welfare and affirmative action.
A lot of black people don't look at that as something positive, but the Republicans talk about doing for self and taking care of yourself. And this is some Eldridge was trying to, I guess, extend to the people.
In fact, today, fellow 60s activist Angela Davis and several others declined to speak about Cleaver's death, saying they would only add critical comments.
This time there will be...
He disappointed me, one black leader says of Eldridge Cleaver. Others, however, remember Cleaver with the word inspiring. In Oakland, Anthony Moore, News Center 4.
A life of change and contradiction, Eldridge Cleaver survived by his daughter Joju and his son Masio. There is no word yet on funeral services. Eldridge Cleaver dead at the age of 62.
Of time here in the Bay Area fighting for what he believed in. Channel 7's Don Sanchez looks back at a turbulent time and a turbulent man.
The racist power structure of this imperialist country is preparing to unleash a war of genocide.
Turbulent times, the Black Panthers taking militant means. Eldridge Cleaver and Huey Newton, powerful voices in a new struggle.
I thought that Eldridge was the reincarnation of Malcolm X. I'd never heard such power, such eloquence. That's why he was our Minister of Information.
Hilliard says Cleaver's 1968 book, Soul on Ice, written in prison, became the group's philosophical foundation.
Writing about one's experiences and insights is a way of resolving conflicts and clarifying.
But Cleaver and Newton did find ideological differences.
Eldridge was an exponent of the whole idea of revolution now. Huey Newton saw revolution as being a process.
They were bold. They brought loaded guns into the state capitol in Sacramento.
I have these Black Panthers up here with guns on the second floor. even though some of their methodology was a little skewed, the ideas were sound that they had, and they just got a little off the track in trying to implement those things.
28th Street in West Oakland, a significant neighborhood in the history of the Black Panthers and Eldridge Cleaver. It was Hilliard Cleaver and 17-year-old Bobby Hutton who were in a fiery exchange of gunfire with Oakland police right here on this site. And when it was over, Hutton was dead, Cleaver was under arrest. But before he could go to trial, he left the country. He returned 7 years later to face the charges.
He always insisted that it was a matter of self-defense entirely.
Marcus Topol was his attorney. Cleaver got probation, and he had changed. He became a Republican, ran for political office in Berkeley. He was an environmentalist, a fashion designer. There were brushes with the law, drug problems, brain surgery after a beating.
And he was always searching for something that would seem to fit him in a society in which he clearly felt out of place.
He said he wanted to start a new life. Eldridge Cleaver has died at the age of 62. Don Sanchez, Channel 7 News.